a lot smaller than what we think of as a normal volunteer task. Usually up to 15 minutes, that sort of thing, or shorter. I actually have a definition of microvolunteering, and this is by Ben Rigby. He is the founder, I think, of Sparked.com, and I'll talk more about Sparked later. But these are what you think of when what you should think of when you think of microvolunteering. It's convenient. It's volunteerism that fits into your schedule when you have the time, typically, but not necessarily, via an internet-connected device, such as a mobile phone or personal computer. So you can think of it too, if you were here for managing the mobile workforce, this is volunteerism for the mobile volunteer force, however you want to say it. In practice, to achieve this level of convenience, there is often no training or vetting necessary. So normally you don't have a course or anything before you get down in volunteering. You just look at the opportunity, evaluate your skill set, and move forward and start doing what they ask. Translating a document or reformatting something or making a video. However, I think in the future you could make one easily enough that had a testing stage. A site called Mechanical Turk is one it's not about volunteering, it's about doing little tasks for a few pennies at a time or a few dollars at a time. And they actually successfully have little training courses before you go on to do the task. They advertise, and I think that could translate over to volunteerism. Microvolunteering is bite-sized. Volunteer tasks are broken into small-ish pieces. You can find some dedicated volunteers who will go a few hours or do something regularly for you, and it's still kind of microvolunteering. That's so you can complete the task in the time that you have available, whatever time that might be, 3 in the morning, whenever. It has to be always available. Another characteristic is that it is crowdsourced, and what crowdsourcing is, it's tapping into everybody all at once. It's different from a volunteer project where you advertise to your school and then get a group of people to come with you and then you lead them through it. You're asking the crowd at large through the internet to do something specific that they can do on their own on the internet. The nonprofit that needs help asks a largest group for assistance. Microvolunteers have the time, interest, and skills, ideally, and who may be previously unknown to the profit, do the work. So this is something that microvolunteering has actually received some criticism for, is that the volunteers are somewhat distant. They help you for a few minutes. You don't know that much about them. You're not guaranteed more interaction with them. But I think with social media and based on the novelty and the amount of fun it is to work on your micro-volunteering projects, they can turn into long-term volunteers if you do it correctly. They might volunteer via the internet more for you or do bigger projects. And separate from micro-volunteering is virtual volunteering. That normally implies more commitment and is more regular. You may know the person better. Fourth is it is network managed. The demands of the manager, for example, a nonprofit staffer, are reduced by distributing as much of the project management and quality review as possible to the network of micro-volunteers. This work management method differs from a top-down model of project management. This means that you aren't there to govern every aspect of the work that they do. It's a good thing too, because you're not spending your time when you can be contacting other volunteers or just doing your regular work. They can actually monitor each other. One of your tasks could be, please translate this document, and another task could be, please check this person's translation of the document. And it moves on and on like that. I haven't seen that a lot in micro-volunteering, but that's popular on sites like Mechanical Turk that I was talking about for these micro-tasks. When you think of a micro-volunteer, you want to think of someone in a certain atmosphere, and to be in their shoes, You have to think, okay, they're at a computer or they're at their smartphone at the bus station, and that's their weapon of choice. That's their environment. You won't have a chance to charm them face to face or give them candy or anything like that. So you have to rely on how fun it is to help you, or how beneficial it is to them if they want to learn a certain skill. They're trying to help your nonprofit using the skills and experience they have. To tie off what I just said, if they're starting to learn graphic design and they'd like to go into the business, it's a perfect opportunity for them to help you design a logo or create a background for a web page. And what's great about this is if you marketed that locally around your town, you're limited to the population there that can do that. But in these systems, as you'll see, you're really hitting the whole world, and you can get that specific volunteer who wants those specific things from volunteering. They remember too that they pick you from many choices, so you really want to stand out, just like a news article headline. You want to make sure that they read your opportunity and that they want to work with you. Oh, I should mention before I go on, I'm videotaping this, so if you have any objections to me using your comments or talk in the background, let me know. I was thinking of putting this up on YouTube to archive it, and it's my girlfriend Lulu over there volunteering to help me. When you propose a task, think of something that has a sense of completion, because nobody wants to go on and do work that they're not sure what it's for. They want to have an idea frame. Like with a logo, you have an end result, a logo. But if it's something like research and it's an ongoing process, find a way to make it sound like it has a definite end. Like, please research up to this many companies and report on it to us, so they have a feeling of accomplishment afterwards. Don't say, hey, please just look for grants for us, how many ever is fine. That wouldn't be good. Micro-volunteers have minutes to spare, not hours. My personal guess is a lot of micro-volunteering happens at the workplace, because through Sparked.com they do most of their marketing to businesses that have employee volunteer programs. So you're getting people from Google and Yahoo, and their employers are telling them, hey, we want to see you spend a certain amount of time volunteering. Here is a virtual option through micro-volunteering. But everyone's on here, and once you get involved, you become a micro-volunteer. It's pretty much impossible to not, because you start browsing, comparing, and then go, hey, I could do that. That would only take me 3 minutes, and it feels good. So, and lastly, micro-volunteers need recognition for their work. So in Spark.com they have a little awards system where you can give badges to volunteers, you can give plus marks to certain comments, and it's kind of fun, like, oh, everyone thought I was the most helpful. And other volunteers can see your result, the other volunteers can see all the work the volunteers are doing, so it's not just you viewing it remotely. So to take a break, those are the basics. I have Ben Rigby here again, the guy who made that definition, and he gave a great TED talk on micro-volunteering and on the businesses, the nonprofit he started with Spark.com.
What's TED Talk?
TED Talks are these sort of, they're like conferences, and they're meant for inspirational talks on new ideas, new things happening in technology, culture, the arts. It's really cool to just go on and watch speech after speech. You feel great. And it's got this inspiring music at the beginning. So now getting personal. As you know, I'm an AmeriCorps Vista serving the Lewis Clark Service Corps in Lewiston, Idaho with Lewis Clark State College. And when I first heard about this, it sounded great, and I was optimistic, and I jumped right in. And one thing I want to get across is this isn't just idealism. I've seen it work. It's a workhorse. It's amazing. It can pump out a lot of volunteer time and skill, and I've made some great connections through it. So here's some of the things that we've received. One of the first big things I asked for that I thought would take a while, but actually only took a day or so, was a logo design. Our Community Warrior Center just had a photo and a like black background. It didn't look professional. So I submitted a request, explained our situation. This is where it helps to add as much detail as you can. I think I can read this for you. We created a simple, this is me explaining to the micro-volunteers in Sparked. We created a simple logo for our Volunteer Center Service Learning Program using Google Docs drawings. But we know that a more professional look would be a better way to go. Please put your skills to work to make us look good and help us recruit volunteers to better our neighborhood and the world. I wanted to make them feel important. The logo could include the words Community Warrior Center and should be able to serve as a logo and be inspiring. We are open to interpretations. If you want a photo along with it, feel free to email me. And I give them the information here and a link to the image they could use. What I think of these as the workspaces, and links to photos and other information is like a volunteer kit that you're sending to them. It helps to be able to be clever in how to present it to them too, like making online versions of documents through Google Docs and that sort of thing. But we got a response right away, and not everyone in the office liked it, but I did. Here it is. He gave us actually a whole portfolio, so there's like 10 other designs that we could use for different formats, emails, newsletters, all sorts of things. But I spent some time with him. We went back and forth. He sent us something that didn't quite work, and we had suggestions for him, and he had suggestions for us, and this is what we came up with.
And it was really interesting because we would make a suggestion and then he would write back saying why he didn't think that was a good idea because of the colors or how it stands out or how they work together or what the design meant, and so it was really an education for us too.
Yeah, just like with other volunteers, you're not just saying, please go do this, here's a request slip, please fill it. You're talking with a volunteer, and you can learn from them as they can learn from you. In the same category, I knew how to make designs and things, but I didn't know how to format them for YouTube backgrounds and Twitter backgrounds. So I asked for a new Twitter background. I provided the link to these 3 photos here, and I told them what our college colors are, this blue, maroon, and beige. I don't have much of a color vocabulary, but again, in just a few days we received what you're looking at here. It's just the background, and we uploaded it as a picture to our Twitter account. And then I actually changed the font to make it the right color, but he told me how. Another example, this is actually my favorite because I spent many hours trying to figure out how to make a simple application on Gmail. And I'm not a programmer, but I thought, hey, maybe I could do this. But I was really discouraged, so that's when it popped into my head, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to Sparked. I explained to them my predicament where I got stuck, and they were able to make it work. And what all I needed was this little link to show in Gmail, because we use Gmail to organize our AmeriCorps members. That's where they get all their notifications, and that's where they upload photos. We just needed a link that went to a site that gives them directions on what to do as part of their service. And they gave it to me. And it's just so great to open your inbox and see that a volunteer has done something that you can't. And then the next time I get discouraged, I know that, hey, wait a second, I'm not limited to my own skill set. If I can phrase this in such a way, I can have that skill set indirectly. It's just great. I'm not the type of person who functions as, you know, I don't always think in terms of I'm part of a community, but this really made me feel this way, that I'm not limited to myself. This is one of my favorite ways to use it too, is as a brainstorming tool. And one of the best responses we got was for this question: how could we use 3D printing to serve our community? 3D printing is, they're specialized printers that print 3D objects in plastic or wax or sometimes metals. But it's actually a technology I know is going to become more ubiquitous soon, and everyone's going to have these in their homes, and schools will have them. And I wanted to know what people thought about using it for service, and I got some great answers. One thing it's used a lot for are like fake joints and stuff, and also models of body parts. Also historical models of buildings. If you have a 3D graphic of what a building in Rome was like in ancient Greece. I need to go back to school.
Geography.
Yeah, you can print out a 3D model, and suddenly the lesson in the history class becomes much more tactile, and you can look at it and understand it. Another was for understanding letters and characters. For people who aren't visual, you can actually print out something like Chinese characters and feel what they're like to give you an idea. I thought that was really clever. And another thing is too, I came into it not really having expectations. I just said, here's the technology I don't know very much about. Here's the thought process that I started. I didn't have to do that much research to go on and start getting meaningful feedback from volunteers. Other brainstorms that we put up, this has been only less than a year, I think. 5 or 6 months that we've been using this, maybe less. Some more brainstorm examples. Flyer templates to make us look good was the title, and this turned out to be a great resource. He just led me to this page from Microsoft where there's millions of templates available. So instead of designing every flyer and every poster, I can just go there, browse, look for something professional, and use it. Just type in the letters. Help us edit this article. I was once writing an article and I just wanted some feedback. Everyone in our office was busy, so I had a volunteer do it, and they actually did more than I imagined. I just did it like, oh, maybe they'll make it a little better, but they totally redid it. I don't know what their skill was. They must have been an English professor or something, and it made it that much better. Find us a funny comment to put near our recycling bins on campus was one idea. I didn't get a great response, but I got a few cartoons about recycling. And then I tried like a feedback loop, like, okay, how can I use Spark better? So I got a few ideas there. So right now, do you all have paper on your desks? I'll bring around some sheets of paper. And so far, after what I've talked about, it's okay if you repeat some of my examples, but I encourage you to think of original examples. I want each person to think of 3 ways to use Spark.com. What's a request you would put into the system? Then talk for about 10 minutes or so, and pick, and I'll ask for volunteers for the best examples.
That is so cool.
So sorry to stop everyone, but to get it all covered, I'm going to stop you here. I'm going to start with this table, and I just need 3 examples, your best examples. Feel free to volunteer, any one of you, if you're excited about one of them.
Well, design flyers. So I guess Joseph, their company spends a lot of money on having people design these flyers that they can get volunteered. Jeanette needs someone locally to speak at a conference.
Maybe
Ted
a web
needs help
conference?
on technical stuff, doing a PowerPoint. And Jolene needs help and technical assistance on video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Doing online videos.
A lot of technology stuff there.
Yeah.
Now you needed a speaker. Did you think of a way to turn it into a online or micro-volunteering
I
opportunity?
haven't,
You
but
could do with
I thought if I could.
teleconference.
I was hoping for ideas like that to come back, though. You know.
What about a YouTube video that you have ahead of time?
Well, I was actually watching the YouTube video that you had on the TED
Uh-huh.
Talks, and I was like, that is very cool, because the conference that we're doing is actually for nonprofits in this area, like 100 nonprofits we're having coming in. So, and we're trying to get them to kind of think outside the box on how to collaborate on transportation, so.
TED Talks is actually something you can convert to your own idea. I think there's a feed,
Okay.
and you can create your own TED conference. They've even done it for like high schools and stuff like that, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah. That's a new thing to look into. All right, is that 3? You're good? All right, I'll go to Char's table.
We had ideas for Idaho at Play, like, you know, what kind of things would you suggest we could do with playgrounds or play day? Job descriptions for volunteers, position descriptions. Well, she has an event coming up, and she wants to figure out how to link her event website with her main website by just putting the slash. So, like we do lcsc.edu/AmeriCorps, they would go to Habitat/fundraiser or whatever and be able to get that. So she needs help with that. Developing website. Our program, Lewis Clark Service Corps, could use it to translate our recruitment materials into Spanish, because we have lots of students who are Spanish speakers who need AmeriCorps members to help with them, so we want to be able to communicate with them. Flyers, like you said, logos, marketing, coming up with training options for marketing, and customer service, review grants.
All those sound great. If you put those on there, I can guarantee you'd get a response over time. Sometimes you don't get a response and you just have to repost.
Reword.
But yeah, and make it shorter and more appealing. Over half the opportunities on there, I swear, when I go on there to volunteer, I read halfway through and go, I don't understand what this is, I'm moving on. But I know all they would have had to do is rewrite it to just bluntly explain what they want. So. All right, next question over there, or answers?
We're veterans serving veterans. We're AmeriCorps. So our 3, we had, how do we bring basic computer knowledge or skills to veterans? We see a lot of veterans, old and young, homeless veterans that have no computer skills. So we don't know how to link our homeless veterans that have no computer skills, how to get them the basic skill levels. I mean, we can send them to the library, but they have no. I mean, hours.
You have to know how to use the library.
Teaching.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, even how to use a mouse. Yeah. I mean, no computer skills.
So anything that helps bridge that, even so ever so slight, is very helpful.
So that's a brainstorming opportunity. Can you think of any ways to make that a direct
Yeah.
opportunity? Maybe
That one was one of our toughest ones.
maybe an online pen pal about navigating the library.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, some things along that line. Kind of what you were thinking. Some good questions.
We need someone to help design a website for the veterans serving veterans, like a directory, a main directory.
And getting ideas that would be, well, looking for appealing ideas that would attract veterans.
Okay, cool.
The larger the audience that we have to ask that question.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And you could split that up into bits. Maybe ask for some
Areas.
graphics or a part of your website that you need help with, and then put them all together with the final volunteer. All they have to do is host it and find the right platform. So that way you're more likely to get a response.
And even volunteers that are other vets.
And then the third one was need client service rep for Operation Homefront to screen applications for requesting services.
Oh, there might be some, that's one thing I haven't talked about yet. Sensitive information and confidentiality is very tricky on here. It's exactly like social media. Everyone can see what's going on. And a lot of the work done is posted on the site so that anyone could see it. So if you wanted something that had to do with entering people's information, you'd have to make sure that you got a volunteer that understood they had to do it a certain way and check with your organization's policy before you ask for that kind of work and how they'd want it done. That's one drawback.
Actually, it's just to find the volunteer. The work is actually done on a separate website that is secure.
Oh, you want them to find volunteers?
Just to find a volunteer.
Oh.
To do the screening.
Oh, okay.
Because they know.
It's still helpful, I guess, what I said.
Right. That's what I've seen there.
Okay, that would fit then.
To do the screening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, one more question before we go to the back.
Oh, well, no, go ahead, and then you can come back to it.
Okay. Did you have one more? Sorry.
Nope, that's
Okay.
That was it for us.
And in the back?
Okay. We had a lot of the same problems, like we need resources for ideas on how to gain more resources and supplies. One was for a specific class or hobby, like knitting, crocheting. One for me was editing help.
On a,
and creative teaching ideas.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
I've answered some of those questions that are a lot like that. I was talking with them earlier, and they were talking about how they needed sewing done and also yarn donations.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. I'm not sure about Spark.com, but microvolunteering in general can also be taken offline. If you want them to mail you, things that have already been knitted and done, if you want them to mail you yarn, that could happen if you market it the right way. And you don't always have to use Spark.com. The idea of microvolunteering works as long as you make the opportunity and market it. So Spark is great because there's a lot of people already on the system who are hip to this stuff. But you can create your own guerrilla micro-volunteering opportunities too.
And we've sort of done that with our program. We have an organization called First Book, where we raise funds, give grants, and those grants are used to buy brand new books, which are given to low-income kids who are in literacy programs. And the way we raise money for the grants is we go online, we look for authors' websites and how to contact them. We email the author, ask them to autograph a book and send it to us, which 9 times out of 10 they do. And so the book, they pay for the shipping, they pay for the book, it comes to us, we auction it off online. If somebody buys it out of town, they pay for the shipping. So 100% of the funds that we raise go towards the books because we don't pay for anything. The online auction is free, they ship it to us, and we've had some amazing authors. We've had politicians, Newt Gingrich and Al Gore sent us books. We've had Greg Mortensen sent copies of 3 Cups of Tea. New York Times bestsellers. We just got one from Anne Rice last week, who writes all the vampire books. She's donated 2 or 3. And that's how we've kind of used online. It's micro-volunteering, but we're asking them to send us things to raise money with.
Mm-hmm. And this is a little bizarre, but one thing I think it might lead to in the future, things like robotic arms that are controlled by the internet. Like the Humane Society had just a stick that moved. You could control it like a video game, and it helped the cats play with a little.
Really?
I don't know what they're called, cat toy. But yeah, in the future with new technology, volunteering that's online can increasingly become more able to do lots more. So this is another thing they have, challenge templates. If you're low on ideas, you don't know what to ask for, they have templates already made, like please find bloggers that have to do with our organization that we should be contacting to blog about us. I've done that like twice and not gotten a response though.
Okay, can we?
Oh, back to you,
See,
yeah.
I can see where it might come to a place where you'd have to reveal things like passwords in order to get.
I would avoid it.
Yeah.
Can you
then
give me an
go
example?
to? I mean, maybe you could provide personal emails or something to exchange? I mean, how
Yes,
cautious?
it can always go off of Sparked and turn into an email conversation. But I'd still be careful because they have access to Sparked, and there's a chance there might be confusion and they'll start posting things there, and then it's public. So. But yeah, thinking of ways to get around things is a big part of this too. But the templates are great. You just select one, and it more often than not, it's worded the way you'd want it. That's how I got the Twitter background. I didn't think of that originally. So here's what they look like. You just write a witty and original title. Here's there because they want me to think of something. And then we'd love some feedback on how to make our website more online giving friendly. That kind of idea. So I don't know if I should show you a demo now. I'm running low on time, maybe at the end. Oh, another video. Let's see if the internet got stronger.
Good morning, Elsie.
Here, this is a show I do every once in a while called Nonprofit Tech Tips. I just send it out hoping I'll get a nonprofit's attention and they'll start using the tools I talk about. Oh, it's going pretty fast.
Is there a way people can sign up with you to get those?
If they follow us on YouTube, that would be really helpful.
Okay.
I also put it on the Service Learning Higher Education listserv whenever I make one.
I'm going to write our...
Sure. If you want to write it down, you'll
Facebook.
be searching LC Service Corps in Google, and from our main page, you'll see all our social media, including a YouTube link. But in this, I talk about vark.com, and that's the next thing. It's a question-answer service, and it's faster than Vark. That's the biggest thing about it. It's similar in the idea that people are helping you move forward with your goals, but these are people just answering questions in the moment based on what they know. And there's, unlike Sparked, there's tags, and based on those tags, they'll get email. I shouldn't repeat myself. I tell you in the video.
This is the LC Service Corps here. Hope you're ready.
Get ready for the cheesy opening.
Your nonprofit tech tips.
Like the lightning.
What is a medium-sized burrowing nocturnal animal native to Africa that can help you solve your toughest questions? Well, it is, of course, an aardvark. Aardvark is one of the most powerful tools I have discovered in the world of Web 2.0 since Google Docs. Aardvark is a social search engine that makes use of the masses to improve your ability to search quickly and intelligently. Aardvark is especially good at finding local information, like recommendations for good restaurants, or where you can find the cheapest toilet paper in town, etc. The way it works is, when you sign up for the service, you have the option to make a list of tags having to do with your interests, hobbies, and expertise. This can include towns and neighborhoods you know the ins and outs of, news you keep up to date on, and any other subject you would enjoy answering questions about. The service is free, and giving and receiving of answers on the site is very natural and effective.
I'll give it a second to pause. It's not the whole video, it's just a few more seconds more.
Questions are answered within 5 minutes.
Aww. But I don't go on to say much more. So I'll just move ahead. Oh, this is the fun part. You get to ask questions. So if anyone has a burning question on their mind, I'll be going on to vark.com right now. I just set it up. See, as you can see here, I have a profile picture so people see what I look like when I talk to them. This is the ask portion, and this is the answer. Ooh. Maybe that's why the video didn't play. Here I phrase my question, and when I hit send, it'll suggest putting up tags. So if anyone's got a question, hopefully the internet isn't broken. Oh, it is.
Uh-oh.
marketing of used building supplies.
Okay.
Maybe I'll rephrase it to make it simpler.
Yeah.
How could I come
that
up
was
with
pretty
a
good.
pricing strategy for used building items or building materials?
Supplies, yeah, building.
And question mark. And when you hit send, that's when it'll prompt me to add tags. So I want this to go to people who put on their profile that they know things about pricing strategies, maybe sales, maybe, I don't know, Home Depot.
Building
Building
materials.
construction supplies.
Building, construction.
Restore.
How do you spell it?
R-E-S-T-O-R-E.
So yeah, the more, a lot of the times I just throw in like a big word in there that I know a lot of people included, so it'll go to a lot of people. Like I put internet as something. All right, more questions? I'll just do a few more. And one that's really easy to answer, but that you maybe don't know. So we're guaranteed a response here. That one was a tricky one.
It was.
So, simple question. I want it to be from you. I don't want to think of it. So, why is the sky blue, anyone?
That would work.
Let's
Someone can answer.
why doesn't the Mentos thing work with Diet Pepsi?
Good question.
That's awesome.
Oh, oops. That
Oh, sometimes if you write something that's too short, they block it because they think you're a robot. Why is the sky blue? Question mark. I've always wanted to know. That's the other thing too. You can add things in your question that have to do with your feeling about it, or you can add tones so that people know how to respond. Hopefully the internet stays with us.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get the answers right away. I'm going to come back at the end of the presentation and show you what I've got. Why doesn't Diet Pepsi
Yeah. Explode.
do the same thing as Coke and
Mentos.
How do you spell Pepsi?
Just
No.
an I, no E.
Oh.
Someone doesn't drink this.
That's another great
How
thing
do you
about it.
spell Pepsi?
It won't mess up because it's people reading it, not a computer that doesn't know what I'm doing.
Really? It does that with Coke. Diet Coke? Does it have to be Diet?
It'll do it with club
I think-
soda too.
It'll do it closer.
I.e.
Hold it.
explode.
Explode, all right.
Yeah.
I thought of a comparative just question about technologies. I noticed that this is a little bit similar to Yahoo Answers, which you sometimes...
It is, but
Yeah.
it's... Okay, do you want more?
Yeah, I wanted to know so that I can get... Because it seems like Yahoo Answers is kind of... The last few times something comes up in a search and I click on it, it's like, that's just like totally bogus. And so I'm hoping that this is... This seems to be vetted a little bit better, or it hasn't fallen by the wayside, because I think Yahoo's moved on to bigger and better things.
I think this is better because it's more timely. They get an email. They've already marked what they're interested in. Yahoo Answers doesn't have that kind of database.
Yeah.
And it's more individual. Other people don't see the answers here. It's not as public. It's just you sharing an email.
Questions that just got answered down here on the right. Watch live. These are questions
Oh, yeah.
that are getting answered.
So
Can
these
you
are
click on that
topics.
and look at that question then?
I'm not sure. I want to make this work. It's saying there's a problem every time I... Oh, there we go. Pepsi, chemistry, soda,
Explosion.
Mentos.
viral videos. Sports. Yeah, and sometimes you don't get great answers. But less often than not. How would I say that?
we've struggled for years how to divide our teams up at pre-service orientation between their team get-togethers and their trainings, and so we make people tiger spruces or red bears or something, just to. And we went to Aardvark and said, how do we do this? We've been trying to figure this out for years. And they said, how about just letting the teams name themselves and then they'll remember who they are. Well, okay, that works.
Got to be fair, though, that was my idea.
Yeah.
But we did ask Aardvark and got a lot of good other ideas.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, it gets you thinking and gives you something to build off, even if they don't answer it. Or they'll say, I don't know, I think I saw it on a blog a while ago, something about some guy with red hair. And then you get enough tags, what am I saying? You get enough terms to help you in your search, so you retype it in the computer and like, that's the term.
Oh.
So going back to the presentation. All right, we'll check on those when we're done. Vark.com, Quora, Yahoo Answers, like you were talking about, and Facebook questions have all been part of the movement to put people instead of algorithms leading to search results behind finding answers online. Through the use of collective filtering and tagging, social search distributes questions to people until an adequate answer is found. And if they don't answer your question right away, you go, please give me another answer, that was stupid. And the results people often find are much better than using traditional search methods. This is largely because people/humans can do things computers cannot. They can think, judge, and have opinions. And here's an example question. This is an example of me finding a term that helped me go on. I didn't find the actual answer. How should I go about figuring out if my video editor can do subtractive editing? It's a term I made up. Where I can drag a clip so that it subtracts from the ones next to it. Thanks. And the guy in the hard hat over here, whoever he is, we know that he's 42, male, and from St. Paul. You can log in with Facebook. That's another great thing, so you don't need a separate idea. If you're logged into Facebook, you just say connect with Facebook, and you're in. So my response was, thanks, rolling edit is the term I was looking for. He wasn't sure how to directly help me. And I knew that. I actually made this question knowing that that might happen. Here's another one. I actually asked this question for this presentation. Earlier, I don't know if you saw the dog with its head tilted. Any suggestions for a funny picture of an animal that's not a dog or cat tilting its head in a what the heck sort of expression? Try typing that into Google and see what you get. Maybe this, and they gave me a link to a picture, and this is the picture. I thought that was pretty good. I went with another one, but I included this indirectly. So to move it back to nonprofits, the line can blur a little bit when you're online and asking these questions. You go back and forth from personal questions to questions for your work, and it can all come together. But thinking as a nonprofit, you can think about it this way. You can use it to ask for easier ways to get work done. I once asked for a website that could quickly and intuitively crop a photo, and I got a few suggestions of websites that did just that and only that. You can ask about grants, trends in service, websites to use, and advice on fundraising strategies. When you ask questions, keep an open mind. That's huge on Aardvark. Treat Vark.com like a wish list. For example, this question, is there a dish that cleans itself? You never know. When I wrote this in the presentation, I was like, ha ha ha. But then I went and typed it into Vark just for the heck of it. And I got to talking to a guy from like an invention product company. He's like, hey man, we should invent this. And we started brainstorming really quickly. And it was like, man, I'm at work, I gotta go. But that's how things start. So. I put some links and resources here at the end. If I can email this presentation to you. It's in a link on Google Docs, so you don't have to download anything. If you want to write your email and leave it with me, just leave a piece of paper or write it on your suggestion boards. You can find the promotional video made by Sparked if you want to share the news with other people. Microvolunteering Wednesday is an article I write every week for the Daily Crowdsource, and I just feature 2 or 3 Spark.com opportunities each time, and every once in a while something else that I find on another site.
You can email if you want Casey to.
Oh, and one of those, before I started that, I actually wrote to them with an article on how we use crowdsourcing and featured some of the ideas we've used. And that might be helpful thinking about how to put it in your organization if you want to read that at some time. So let's check our answers. I'll be really sad if there's nothing there. But. So you go to history, whoops, questions you've asked. And, oh, we have some answers. So one answer to why Diet Pepsi doesn't explode. Sky Blue first. Let's see. Always wanted to know. I'm scared to click on that link. Every once in a while they send something.
Chat roulette.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
The answer.
Wow.
Yeah. I almost don't need to read. The picture's so appealing. I actually researched this question myself once. I've forgotten the answer. I think it's how
That's pretty cool.
it refracts light. Yeah. You think of air as empty, but it's actually got molecules in it that reflect light, and depending on the molecule, it reflects it at a certain wavelength. Uh-oh.
The answer there.
Because it's not.
Because it's what? Because it's not Diet Coke.
And you do get these sometimes, but say this made me angry, but it doesn't, because I'm like, ha ha ha. But I could write, yes,
LOL.
Yes, it was thankful, kind of, not for me, and no.
Oh.
But if I could see they're just doing a harmless joke, I don't want to hurt their profile rating or anything.
So if you're on this and you've said I'm an expert in this, you just get an email anytime somebody puts that tag on their question?
One more time.
Go
The
ahead,
tags
finish
come
typing.
when you question it, and when you set up a profile, you put tags on your profile, so I know about nonprofits, marketing.
And then you just get an email and
Yes.
and
And you
says,
can
hey,
set-
somebody's asked a question that you're an expert on. And okay.
And you can set up the frequency, how often you want to get those types of emails.
Oh, wow.
I end up just fishing for answering questions a lot of the time. Every once in a while I'll answer. There we go.
There we go. That's
Complete
good.
communication. So, what was the other one? Why is Sky Blue and Pepsi? See, nothing for pricing strategy yet. I would wait
That
a
would be
day
the
or
harder
so.
way.
That's a tougher one.
And if you want to just send thanks, I do that a lot. I just click thanks and it automatically says thanks for me. That's all for Aardvark. I'm ready to take questions on Aardvark and Sparked. If you want to look inside of Sparked, I'd be happy to log in and show you around or any questions you have. Anyone?
So can you ask any type of question, or does it have to do with volunteering? Because, you know, sometimes people can ask something derogatory or...
You could. It's free speech, I guess. You can ask any sort of thing. They just don't ask. They ask that you don't ask. Like on Sparked, you can ask for volunteer help. They don't want you asking people for tasks to be completed. Like, can you please do my homework? And they don't want you trying to sell anything.
My homework, can you do it for me?
Like, I once got chastised on Sparked because we were in an online video contest and I wrote in, hey, we're trying to win this video contest, and I put a link and I was like, does anyone have any suggestions on how we can market it? And they were like, hey, what are you doing trying to win a video contest? I don't think this is the right tool for that. So you're working with people. And, like on the dishes question, another response I got was, no, you fool. Google doesn't normally do that. No. It's personality. But I really like approaching it as a wish list, like waking up every day and thinking, what's something I would like that might exist, but I'm not sure, and to just be open-minded and stuff like that. Any other questions? Do you want to, is anyone intimidated by the system? The way you log in is, here I'll sign out. But, over here on the side too, you start compiling a list of all the people that have volunteered with you before, if you want to stay in contact with them.
Can you show us how we give them props for helping?
Uh-oh, gotta connect. Sure, yeah. I don't know if I just told a group. No, I told everyone that there's awards on the system.
Yeah.
So, sparked.com. I can also recommend Google Chrome if you haven't made the switch. There's all sorts of cool tools on here. You can play the piano. I can check my YouTube feed. I can take a picture of the page to easily make things I want to show other people and download it. It's not letting me sign out. But when you first get into the system, okay, it starts off with a little tutorial and going through, and depending on if you're a volunteer, you start over here, and if you're a nonprofit, you can apply through here. And it's a really easy setup. It's not bad at all. And there's someone on their team called Shauna Carey, and she works with nonprofits trying to get on the system, and her contact's in the contact information. I think it's going to get better too. Like on Aardvark, you saw that there were tags and people got emails. That's not something that happens on Sparked. But I think that's an improvement that might come later and become more effective. But it's already pretty effective. I mean, how often can you put out a volunteer request in an email or verbally and get a response within days? It's a different world.
Especially highly skilled volunteers.
That's a big part of it too, yeah. So I could sign in or I could hit Facebook, but I'm not logged into Facebook right now. When I first started, I was just curious, and I had like a work one, or I just had one account, but now I'm like making a work one finally, in case I ever have to show it off or something. What was the question? How to award a volunteer?
Yeah, how do you reward the volunteers?
I actually have some here that have already volunteered that I've been meaning to reward in some way. Help us find ways to make our site more accessible. That's one thing we wanted to do. It's loading. Get rid of these things. Because it's not Diet Coke. So, another thing is when you're done, all of these are on a time frame, like a few weeks, and you can extend it if I have the choice here to mark this successful because it's over with, or I could let it run to the deadline of the 15th, and it'll remind me if I haven't closed it. And what you're supposed to do when you close is thank volunteers. See, I already gave them a +1, but any volunteer could have given them this +1 if they liked their answer.
Well, so these are all responses that you got to that question?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've gotten a few more since I've been at the conference. So there's lots of suggestions. So I'll just start reading what I don't even know what it says. Before doing any work on the site, I'd recommend taking a step back and looking at what you want to achieve with it. Right now, there's a lot going on, with various parts competing for attention. It's also not clear to me how the two separate menus relate to each other. So he's critiquing our website in general. That's nice. Good. But then he gives suggestions. And one thing we can't do is we have to use tables at our college, but I know that gets in the way of people who are using screen readers and stuff, and a lot of people said that. But is this helpful? Try Wave and JAWS Screener. Both are great tools for experiencing the site as a disabled person. Wow. Oh. That would be cool. If he's telling the truth, it's, +1.
What was those called? Firefox plugin and JAWS. JAWS.
Does anyone know about those?
Yeah, we use JAWS where I work. It's a screen reader program that works fairly good on Windows anyway.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I've heard of Firefox.
So I just think it's really cool, and after a while you start to feel like you can depend on these things a little bit, and it takes you beyond yourself, and it can be a real confidence booster as far as what work you can do for nonprofits and to figure out problems for yourself.
Singularity.
Yeah. So that's all I have. If anyone has any questions, though, I'd be happy to answer.
Did everyone get a chance to sign if they wanted the, okay, I'll give this to you then, Casey.
You'll get out a little early here, if you don't mind. There's 15 more minutes if you want to take a break. Or